In a world of privilege and isolation, a young millionaire's daughter had never seen the world beyond her mansion walls. Born blind, she relied on the luxury surrounding her, oblivious to life's harsher truths. One ordinary afternoon, everything changed when her family's black maid approached her with a simple, caring gesture, rubbing her eyes. No one could have predicted what followed. In that instant, the impossible happened. Light flooded her world, revealing not just colors and shapes but truths she had never imagined. The moment was miraculous, but beneath it lay a deeper story of prejudice, courage, and the invisible power of those society often overlooks. She had lived her entire life in a world designed for comfort, but shielded from reality. The daughter of one of the city's wealthiest families, her days were filled with lavish rooms, gilded furniture, and endless attendants catering to her every need. Her blindness had never seemed a limitation. If anything, it had amplified her family's devotion. They treated her with care, but also with a distance that made her world feel both safe and confining. Beyond the gates of the estate lay a city full of color, chaos, and life. But she had never touched it, smelled it, or truly imagined it. Her closest companion was the family's maid, a black woman whose quiet strength and gentle hands were her constant. She moved through the mansion almost invisibly, yet her presence was undeniable, offering comfort, laughter, and a subtle defiance that contrasted sharply with the rigid etiquette of the household. The girl adored her, though she never fully understood the quiet hardships her friend faced outside these walls, where the world was far less forgiving. Every day was a careful routine, each moment predictable and safe. But safety had its own illusions, and the mansion, for all its beauty, was a gilded cage. The girl longed for something she could not name, an experience, a revelation, a connection that would break the monotony of her sheltered life. Little did she know, the catalyst for that awakening was already beside her, in the unassuming form of a woman who carried knowledge, resilience, and a touch of the impossible in her hands. A single gesture, simple yet profound, would soon unravel everything she thought she knew about the world, and about the people around her. The morning sunlight streamed through the tall windows, brushing the walls with gold, yet the girl remained blind to it. She moved through the mansion with practiced precision, guided by memory and the gentle voice of her maid. The world outside remained a mystery, vivid, alive, and forbidden, and she had never questioned it. But subtle tensions had always lingered in the background. The staff, many of whom were black, worked tirelessly yet silently bore the weight of prejudice and invisible boundaries. The girl, shielded by her wealth and innocence, had never noticed the quiet glances, the small indignities, or the invisible walls that separated her life from theirs. Her maid, though deferential, carried a resilience that the household rarely acknowledged. There was a depth in her eyes that told stories of struggle, dignity, and unspoken courage. She moved with grace, yet there was always a sense that she had learned to navigate a world where her worth was measured differently. The girl sensed nothing of this at first. She only felt warmth, kindness, and a protective presence. Then came the day that would change everything. A minor accident in the sunlit sitting room, a misstep, a stumble, left the girl disoriented, reaching blindly for stability. Her maid's hands, steady and unwavering, guided her. And in a moment born of care and instinct, she gently rubbed the girl's closed eyes. It was an ordinary gesture of comfort, one born out of years of quiet friendship and attentiveness. But something extraordinary happened. The world shifted. Shapes, colors, and light flooded the girl's perception. She gasped inwardly, overwhelmed by sensations she had never known existed. Flowers on the windowsill shimmered in vivid hues. The polished wood of the floor reflected sunlight in a dazzling dance. For the first time she truly saw, not just with her eyes but with the full awareness of existence itself. Her joy, pure and uncontainable, was electric. Yet amidst this miracle, tension stirred beneath the surface. Her family, while proud of the sudden restoration of her sight, failed to acknowledge the pivotal role the maid had played. Their gazes, filled with entitlement and superiority, overlooked the woman whose hands had unlocked a world they had always taken for granted. The girl, now seeing, felt a growing awareness of the injustices that had long gone unnoticed, the quiet discrimination that had existed in the corners of her perfect world. This newfound vision was exhilarating but also disorienting. She saw not only beauty but inequality, and her heart ached with the knowledge of what she had missed. The maid, patient and composed, did not seek recognition, yet her quiet heroism could not be ignored. Every glance, every gesture now carried weight. The mansion, once a sanctuary, felt like a microcosm of a world brimming with both privilege and prejudice, and the girl realized that the impossible gift she had received came intertwined with a profound, unsettling truth about those who had shaped her life. For the first time, she could see everything clearly, and the revelation was staggering. Colors that had only existed in imagination now painted the world in dazzling vibrancy. She traced the curves of the grand chandelier, the intricate patterns of the Persian rug, and the sunlight spilling through the tall windows. But her gaze kept returning to the one person who had made it possible, the maid. Her hands, once unseen, had unlocked a world the girl had thought forever closed. The girl's heart swelled with gratitude, awe, and a new sense of clarity, not just of sight, but of understanding. And then came the harsh awakening. Her parents, rather than celebrating the woman who had performed this miracle, exchanged awkward glances. Their pride in the girl mingled with subtle discomfort at her recognition of someone they deemed socially inferior. Whispers of service and role hung in the air like invisible chains, a reminder that no miracle could easily erase deeply ingrained bias. The girl, now fully aware of both sight and social injustice, felt a surge of anger and heartbreak. How could the world fail to see the worth of someone whose hands had literally changed her life? The maid remained composed, calm in the face of ignorance and condescension. Her dignity was unshaken, even as she felt the weight of being invisible in a world that only recognized privilege. Yet the girl could no longer ignore her. She reached out, taking the maid's hands into her own, and in that silent gesture she acknowledged the profound truth. It was not wealth, status, or lineage that held power, but courage, compassion, and the quiet strength of those who act without expectation of recognition. In that moment, the mansion transformed, not through gold or luxury, but through revelation. The girl's eyes had opened, but so had her mind. She saw inequity for what it was, and she recognized the hero who had remained unseen all her life. The impossible had occurred, yet it carried with it a lesson far greater than sight. That true vision comes not from the eyes, but from recognizing the humanity in those who society often overlooks. The world around her remained the same, yet nothing felt ordinary anymore. Every detail, every color, every shadow was charged with meaning. And as the girl stood there, trembling with a mixture of wonder and righteous indignation, she understood something profound. Some miracles are small, quiet, and often ignored, but their impact reshapes lives forever. The days that followed were different, even within the familiar walls of the mansion. The girl, now able to see, walked with new awareness. Every corridor, every ornate corner, and every servant's subtle expression told a story she had never noticed before. She looked at her maid, not as a caretaker, but as a remarkable woman whose quiet strength and compassion had changed her life. The maid's unwavering dignity, previously invisible to everyone else, now shone as brightly as the sunlight streaming through the grand windows. Her parents, confronted with the girl's newfound clarity, struggled to reconcile their world of privilege with the profound truth unfolding before them. They had long equated worth with wealth and status, blind to the courage and humanity of those they considered lesser. Yet the girl did not hesitate. She ensured her gratitude was visible, not as charity, but as recognition of the immeasurable value the maid had brought into her life. For the first time, acknowledgement replaced ignorance, and respect replaced hierarchy. Beyond the mansion, the girl's perspective had shifted irreversibly. She understood now that sight alone was not enough. True vision required empathy, awareness, and the courage to challenge injustice. She began to see inequity in its many forms, not only the obvious but also the subtle, the unspoken, the systemic. And she realized that her privilege came with responsibility, to use it to elevate, protect, and honor those who had always been overlooked. The maid, quiet as ever, continued her work, but the dynamic had changed. No longer invisible, she was valued, celebrated, and recognized for the person she truly was. The girl's awakening had not only restored her vision, but also illuminated the social blindness that had long pervaded her life. What had begun as a miraculous gesture became a profound lesson in humanity, justice, and the power of acknowledgement. As the girl looked at the world she could finally see, she carried a question that would linger for the rest of her life. How many miracles go unnoticed because society refuses to recognize the humanity in those it deems invisible? The answer was no longer theoretical. It had been shown to her in color, light, and the quiet heroism of a woman who changed everything with her hands. And that, she realized, was the true gift of sight.